So, good job circling the verb. Read the sentence aloud to see if the subject and verb agreement is correct. All right, number 3 says, the artists and the musicians gather or gathers their materials for the fall festival in October. What is the subject in this sentence? Is it singular or plural? How do you know? Okay, so what type of verb do we need to use? How do you know? Okay, good. Circle the verb. Reread the sentence to see if the subject-verb agreement is correct. Number 4 says, the men nor the women knows the day and time of the festival. So what's the subject here? And is it singular or compound? How do you know? Okay, so what type of verb do we need to use? And how do you know? Good, circle the verb. All right, now reread the sentence and listen to see if the subject-verb agreement is correct. Number 5 says, the grasshoppers or the cricket jumps quickly as the lawnmower approaches. So what is the subject of this sentence? What is the subject singular or compound? How do you know? What type of verb do we need to use then? And how do you know? So, good. Circle the verb. Read the sentence and listen to see if the subject-verb agreement is correct. All right. Number 6 says, sleep allows our body to rest. What's the subject in this sentence? All right. And is that subject singular or compound? How do you know? Good. So what type of verb do we need to use then? How do you know? Okay, circle the verb. Now read the sentence and listen to see if the subject-verb agreement is correct. And number 7 says, toys and candy is our popular gifts for children. What's the subject in this sentence? Is that subject singular or is it plural? How do you know? So what type of verb do we need to use then? How do you know? All right, circle the verb. Now read the sentence aloud and listen to see if the subject and verb agreement is correct. Number 8 says, the candle flickers in the drafty room. Is this subject, or what is the subject in the sentence? Is it singular or compound? How do you know? All right, so what kind of verb do we need to use then? How do you know? Good, circle the verb. Now read the sentence and listen to see if the subject-verb agreement is correct. Number 9 says, the geese or the hawks flies high above the horizon. What's the subject in this sentence? And is that subject singular or is it compound? How do you know? Okay, so what type of verb are we going to need to use then? How do you know? Okay, so circle the plural verb then. Now read the sentence to listen and see if the subject-verb agreement is correct. All right, and last one. Oh, no, I'm sorry. We're going to 14 this time. Number 10 says, neither the sheets nor the pillow have colorful designs. What's the subject in this sentence? Is the subject singular or compound? How do you know? What type of verb do we need to use? How do you know? Good job. Circle the verb. Now read the sentence and listen to see if the subject-verb agreement is correct. Number 11 says, neither the doctor nor the nurses know or knows the name of the patient in the emergency room. So what is the subject in this sentence? Is the subject singular or compound? How do you know? Okay, so what type of verb do we need to use then? How do you know? Good, circle the verb. Now read the sentence and see if the subject and verb agreement is correct. Alright, number 12 says, the stray dogs wander or wanders the neighborhood looking for food and shelter. What's the subject in this sentence? Is the subject singular or compound? How do you know? Okay, so what type of verb are we going to need to use? How do you know? Good, circle the verb. Now read the sentence to see if the subject-verb agreement makes sense and is correct. Number 13 says, the mouse or the crow scurries past the red barn door. What's the subject in this sentence? Is the subject singular or compound? How do you know that? Okay, so what type of verb do we need to use? How do you know? Good job. Circle the verb. Now read the sentence and listen to see if the subject and verb agreement sounds correct. All right. Okay, so now you're going to practice with your peers. Peer 1, it's going to be the same type of activity that we did last time. Peer 1, you're going to take baggie number 1 and you're going to administer those cards to peer number 2. Peer number 1 is going to be the teacher. Peer number 2 is going to be the student. Peer 1, you're going to make sure that peer 2 reads the sentence on the card, then selects the correct verb that agrees with the subject. The answers, again, are going to be on the back of the card so that peer number 1 can see them. And after peer 2 reads and selects the verb, peer number 1 is going to check to see if it's correct. And if it's not, you're going to explain to peer number 2 why the answer is incorrect and what the correct answer should be. So once you get through all the cards, you guys are going to switch roles. Peer number 2, you're going to take baggie number 2, and you're going to administer those to peer number 1. Peer 2, you're going to make sure peer 1 reads the sentences on the cards and then chooses the correct verb to agree with the subject. The answers are on the back of your cards as well, so that way after peer 1 reads and chooses the verb, you check to see if it's correct. If it's not, peer number 2 will explain to peer number 1 why the answer is incorrect and what the right answer should be. I'm going to sit here and watch you all, and I can give a clarification or an explanation if I need to. But try to really, peer number 1, you're going first, so try to really explain to peer number 2 as best you can why the answer is incorrect if it is. All right, here are the baggies. Here you go. Alright, so now it's going to be time for you to work on your own to circle the correct verb that goes with the subject. I'm going to give you a worksheet, and it's going to be the same kind as we've been working on these last 2 lessons. There will be a worksheet with sentences on them, and you have to choose the verb that matches the subject. So then after you get that done, after you're done with today's practice on subject-verb agreement, with singular and compound subjects, the new thing we've been talking about, you're going to work on this related practice task. It's the same kind we did last week, but with new sentences. It's the one where you underline the subject once and you underline the verb twice. And within this worksheet, some of the sentences aren't going to be complete sentences. They're going to be fragments. And so if you run into one of those, you're going to write the word fragment beside of it, and then you'll correct the sentence. So if the subject is missing, you'll write us a subject. If the verb is missing, you'll write a verb. All right, here is your worksheet. All right, thank you so much for working so hard on that. Today we learned about subject-verb agreement when the subject is singular and when we have compound subjects. And we must decide if it's a singular or plural verb to choose based off of the 3 compound subject rules. So let me pull up our lesson summary. All right, read these 2 sentences. All right, which sentence will require a singular subject? How do you know? Okay, what will the correct verb be to use then? And how do you know? So what type of subject is in sentence number 1? How do you know? All right, what type of verb will then match the subject of sentence 1? How do you know? All right, awesome job today. You did great. You worked really, really hard. And if we need to do some follow-up practice, we will be doing extra practice skill exercises on IXL. Thank you so much.